Hello, everybody, and thank you again for joining in this safe series. If you haven't watched all of our other videos, be sure to do that because this series is super special. It is all about becoming a safe person. I know, wait, stay. I know what you're thinking. When you think of a safe person, you're thinking someone in their comfort zone, right? And I am not saying that at all. I'm saying that Jesus is our refuge. And because he is our refuge, we are able to go out of our comfort zones. We are able to love outward and we're able to grow inward with Jesus. And because he is our refuge, we become these safe haven people. People that others can trust in their brokenness and their struggle. And you can check out our Facebook page at Type Your Story, and you can check out our Instagram, and you'll see that at the end of this video. But you'll have some amazing tips of how to be a safe person, from setting boundaries to knowing what it is to be an active listener when someone is sharing their heart. Because here at Love Sarah Kate is all about sharing your story. Let's get to today's. Today's is all about Naomi. And we are in the book of Ruth. And Ruth is amazing. We've talked a bit about her in this series. But I want to focus on Naomi. I don't think she gets a lot of airtime, but I got to read a little bit about Naomi in a book called Faithful. I will also share that link in the comments because it is an incredible book. And Naomi, when I read that in the Faithful Project book, it just touched my heart. And I love Naomi because you see a person who is going through real grief and real loss, and she tells it how it is. Like, she says, "Call me Mira." Like, I don't even, want the name, that God gave me. And she's just crying out in all of the struggles that she's going through. And I don't know about you, but I've been through a lot, and you're probably fighting a battle no one knows about too. I am too. I have two kids. One going on 13 and one almost 16. It's hard to believe. Both of them have ADHD, and it's a new battle every day with that, and in learning how to speak their language, and learning most of all how to show them how loved they are and who they are in Jesus, with the struggle of that ADHD brings. And there are many, but you may be fighting a battle no one knows too, and your heart may be grieving so many losses in your life. I lost my mom several years ago, and I understand just how hard it is to live with grief and how ever-changing it is. And I see that in Naomi. I can relate a lot to Naomi. Can you relate to her too? Just that loss, that grief. And now you're trying to transition. So you're into a whole different kind of loss of your routine. They were going from Moab, back home, and that's a big transition. I've been through moves. You've been through moves. Like, it is not easy. Now imagine doing that, and you're alone, and in your head you're going to be alone. But you have Ruth, who becomes Naomi's safe person. She says, "Where you go, I will go." And they go on this journey together. And when they get to this village, you see Naomi's people around her as she tells about what's going on in her life, and you see them remind her of who she is in God. And I love that the most, because that's who we are as saved people. We get to remind others of who they are in Jesus. We aren't made to save people. We can't do that. We aren't made for that. That is all up to Jesus. Our part, and it's a big part, is getting to be there, to show up. And that could mean a simple phone call. That could mean a card in the mail. That could mean sitting in the hard spot, listening to those tears, and being that shoulder and saying absolutely nothing, but your presence there matters because you showed up. You become that safe person for whatever brokenness or struggle the person you are with is going through. And I think in our lives today, we need more people who are safe, that people feel open to talk about what's really going on. We need to create more authenticity in our homes and in our churches and wherever we are at. Because everyone has a need. Everyone has a struggle they are going through. But very few people have those people that they really feel are showing up for them and become that safe haven. And I know for some of you, you may be thinking, well, I am that person, but I am actually feeling this whole burden of like everything being tossed onto me. And that's why I also talk about boundaries. Because as a safe person, you want to set those boundaries. Because you're also not made to carry everything. And I love in Matthew 11:28-30, Jesus says, "Come to me, all who are weary." And in that verse, he talks about the yoke. The yoke being, what they use in, farming, where they put like an oxen and it's kind of like this, and they walk, and they plow the fields. You see it's kind of wooden and it goes like that over top of them. But it's made for more than one ox. And, and it boils down to, we're made to carry the yoke with Jesus. Like we're with him. And he's carrying all the weight because his yoke is light. He's carrying all the weight. So if you become that person, if you get the honor of becoming a safe person for someone, set boundaries. They are healthy. They are godly. They are beautiful. Set boundaries. 2, remember that you are not made to carry it all either. And that you give those burdens to Jesus. You get to come on behalf. You get to intercede for the person that who is sharing their heart with you. So many times on Love Staircade, I continue to say, share your story. But in this series, it's kind of about being the receiver of stories. And we're made for that too. We are made to receive the stories that people share with us. And we get to know Jesus more through our communities. I know in my life, I have struggled with that. I have, pushed that pause button on community going, and, chosen isolation over community. And let me tell you, it is not healing. It does not help. And it's going to feel awkward, and it's going to feel weird, and you're going to fumble, and you're going to show up, and it matters. Get into community, and you will find other safe people, I pray. And if you need that, I would love to be a source for you. To, for one, be your safe person to share things with, but 2, recommend a local church community, a local community for you to get into, because it matters so very much. That's what I love about Naomi. You see that. You see her community, from the time she is struggling to the end of the chapter when her community rallies around her and they are celebrating Ruth and Boaz getting married, and they say, yes, God is so good. Isn't he good, Naomi? Isn't he good? We told you he is good. And so that is incredible. And I love Naomi. And I'd love to hear how you relate to Naomi as you read Ruth today. Keep sharing your story, but also keep receiving stories too.